Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Mon Floral Garden. I'm guitarist and producer Mon Floral, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys just 4 tips that can aid in drastically improving your guitar playing abilities and will completely change how you play guitar. Also, these are all tips you can start applying right now, and I seriously recommend you try all of them. They are all concepts that I myself have picked out throughout my last 10 years of guitar playing, and while I don't think I'm a super amazing guitar player, I do feel as though I'm at a point where I can start sharing with others how I got to where I am. Also, let me preface by saying the advice I'm going to be sharing is going to be tailored towards those who have a bit more experience, and while beginners can definitely benefit from these, building a good foundation is going to be most important for those of you just starting out. In this video, I'm sharing things that no one told me. I'm not telling you to practice at 10 a.m. every day with a metronome or go consume a textbook on music theory. We already know you can't get better at something if you're not doing it. And music theory can be handy, but it's really not necessary unless you have a specific way of implementing it into your playing. And to be honest, basic theory knowledge can easily be picked up as you start actively analyzing and being exposed to more music. You literally don't need it. So how do you get better at playing guitar? Well, to start, play over everything. One of the fastest ways to learn anything is to jump in the water. And playing guitar over songs you enjoy will both enhance your improvisational skills and help you to play outside of your regular patterns. Most people would recommend playing with other musicians or guitarists in this context, but not everyone knows or has access to other musicians to just call up and jam. Personally, I've only played with other musicians a handful of times because honestly, I don't know many people who can play on my level or even play a similar style for that matter. Throughout my life, my guitar playing has always been a few steps above my peers, and I can definitely recall 1 or 2 friends I had to really work to keep up with, and that's what I craved. So as someone who doesn't know anyone I can play with in real time, playing over songs by my favorite artists allowed me to match my skills with better guitarists. I've written numerous riffs by using this strategy, and I can promise you it can be a greater benefit than just simply playing the same note sequence over an E minor backing track. Play over songs that already have guitars in them. And not only will you be able to match the key easier, but you can use what you hear to fuel your own creativity. Honestly, guys, it's one of the best things you can do. And this brings us to my next point. Expose yourself to new techniques. Now, when I say exposing, I don't mean buckle down and learn every form of guitar playing there is, but I do find it extremely beneficial to listen to artists that make music different from what you play. All this does is expand your ears when it comes to learning guitar sounds and melodies. Kind of like how people travel and indulge in new cultures in order to enhance their perspective on life. It's the same thing. You don't exactly have to apply all of the styles that you hear, but you'll notice that you may start writing melodies that are outside of your box, we'll call it. And you can take this a step further by actually learning the basics and the foundation of the techniques you come across. And by learning techniques, I mean occasionally practicing things like tapping, fingerstyle, and maybe thumping if you got it like that. You don't need to have a super tight grasp on all of the concepts that you encounter, but simply expanding what you're capable of will go a super long way, I promise. You may even notice it after practicing something like sweep picking for a few days. Your finger dexterity and accuracy will improve when you're just normally playing. And you don't even need to become a sweeping pro in order for this to occur. This is due to the correlation between various motions that are shared across different playing styles. For instance, you're gonna have a hard time trying to alternate pick if you can't even get the simple down motion. Doing things outside of your comfort zone will make you better in areas that you are already familiar with. Just trying it for 30 minutes a day will be a huge reward. Try it out and let me know. And for our third tip, create your own sound. Study and listen to artists whose styles align with how you'd like to play, since you are a product of what you consume. Most of the time, the type of music you listen to will have a huge influence on how you play guitar. You should strive to be well versed across an array of genres, but in order to stand out, you need to have an expert level of proficiency in at least one area. Every artist has their own sound, and most of the time it's not directly chosen. Most artists don't listen to themselves and say, "Oh, I'm gonna make this my style." It doesn't work like that. Developing a unique style is something that takes time, similar to walking. How a person walks is a distinct characteristic that is affected by so many things, including the method to how they started walking, how developed their muscles were at that time, etc. Playing styles are complicated in terms of how they're developed, but they're not complicated at all when you hear them. They're almost always easily recognizable for the artist that you're familiar with. As you begin to create a good amount of original content, you'll notice that your fingers have a natural tendency to play certain patterns and melodies is easier than others. This exists across so many different activities, and playing an instrument is no different. There's a reason that you're able to easily recognize your favorite artists and guitar players. Your sound and style of playing will, of course, evolve over time, but usually once you have a consistent way of playing, it will always sound like you, because unless you're doing something different, like changing your primary guitar tuning, you can't change your foundation. Just make sure it's a good one that's also unique. This brings me to my next point. Be original. Imitating your favorite guitarist is great, especially for learning and practicing new techniques, but at some point you should translate those skills that you've learned from that artist's music and translate it into your own playing. If you're satisfied with just playing guitar covers, then please disregard what I'm saying. But for those of you looking to set yourself apart from others, you have to understand that in the art of emulation, you're only as good as the artist that you're mimicking. On top of that, you'll never be as good as the artist because you can't be better than the person that made the music. Sure, you can play it cleaner, but at the end of the day, you're still playing someone else's song. But you have to understand that taking an aspect of a song you like and manipulating it into something that's creatively different is entirely separate from just mirroring what someone else has done. You may be thinking,
how does being unique make me better?
Well, for one, you bring something fresh to the table. And on another note, you're building music with your own flavor and compiling your favorite techniques and inspirations, which will only make you a better guitar player. Take this in the context of someone who's trying to hone their skills in an activity like cooking or baking. Sure, you have to have a basic understanding in order to read recipes, but for the most part, we can all understand instructions. It's not until you're able to take what you learned from the recipes and do things on your own and go beyond what the recipe states. That's when you know that you are making something for yourself. And just as another example, if I was given the option, I wouldn't want to hang two of the same paintings up in my house. I would want something new with different colors, patterns, and maybe even textures. The world doesn't need another Eric Clapton or Metallica, but if you're inspired by those music groups, then stand on their shoulders to elevate what they've done and push it a step further, interpreting it the way you deem the most effective. Making art for and by yourself is a crucial aspect of being a creative that I feel so many people neglect. In all honesty, this is what propelled my guitar playing the most. I'm constantly asked how I play the way I do, and it's because I created an identity for my sound literally as soon as I built a good foundation in terms of my basic guitar playing capabilities. Today I only play covers if learning the piece provides some sort of benefit, like learning a new scale or playing in an odd metered tempo I had never tried. I have absolutely nothing against guitar covers, but from my perspective, the earlier you create an identity for your sound, the more time you have to tweak and enhance it as you progress. If you play guitar covers for all 5 years of your guitar playing career, then inevitably you're just going to be another imitator of whatever artist that you like to cover. These tips are completely different from your regular play every day or learn your major scale, because this is exactly what worked for me. Also, just to give you guys an idea, I sometimes go days without playing or even picking up my guitar, and practicing is something I rarely do unless I feel a need to polish up on a particular skill. So many people online reiterate the same thing about how to play better, and honestly, it's incredibly boring and it's super repetitive. That's exactly why so many people find it difficult to learn guitar strictly using the internet. Once you're at a point where you have the abilities to do what you need to do, then you can challenge yourself by writing your own songs. Because after a certain point, your muscles can really learn anything they need by just simply repeating and practicing whatever it is you're trying to learn. Hopefully these tips helped you in some way, and seriously guys, don't knock them until you've tried them. If there's anything I missed, please feel free to drop it down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.